with you on that. Make sure Ken knows about that request so they don't dupe him into going. And reconvene our hearing, and next up is the Office of Aging. And Director, welcome. And floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner O'Grady.
Good morning.
Oh, darn it. Good afternoon, Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner O'Grady, County Administration, Office of Management and Budget, and Antoine Booker. We are so pleased to be here today. I am Michelle Missler, the Director of the Franklin County Office of Aging. We are beyond pleased today to represent the 103 Office on Aging staff by presenting our 2018 agency accomplishments and our 2019 goals. As you all know, 2018 was a year of great transition at the Office on Aging. And during the first 9 months in my appointment as director, I have been overjoyed to work alongside some of the most compassionate, mission-driven individuals I have encountered in my career, two of which are sitting on either side of me. I'm honored to be joined by the two assistant directors of the Office on Aging. Amy Funk is on my left. She's the Assistant Director of Administration, and Elisha Cangelosi is on my right, the Assistant Director of Operations. As your newly appointed Office on Aging leadership team, we are committed to continuing the excellent services of the older adults of Franklin County, continuing the excellent services that the older adults of Franklin County have received for the last 26 years through the Franklin County Senior Options Program and Adult Protective Services. In the spring of 2017, Franklin County voters approved the 6th consecutive levy funding cycle to provide services for seniors. The Office on Aging team is proud of the fact that a resounding 84% of voters showed their support for the operations of the Franklin County Senior Options Program. This level of support from the great residents of Franklin County is reflective of the recognition that our community understands the growing needs of those that are aging. Today in Franklin County, there are approximately 197,000 residents over the age of 60. These individuals comprise approximately 16% of the total Franklin County population. What we also know is that number is growing every day and will continue to expand as time goes on. Current data from Age Friendly Columbus and Franklin County Initiative tells us that by 2050, our older adult population will have doubled in Franklin County. We as a society are living longer, and while we age, we are more often than not choosing to age in place, meaning that our older adults in Franklin County prefer to remain in their homes for as long as they can. It is the mission of the Franklin County Office on Aging to provide centralized access to diverse programs and individualized services for older adults and their caregivers, so they can preserve their independence and quality of life. The Office on Aging is uniquely positioned to not only provide the access to supports and services through the Senior Options Program, but also help with the economic development of aging services. Franklin County Office on Aging takes in levy dollars and swiftly pushes those dollars back into the community to agencies that are committed to serving older adults by addressing their aging-specific needs. This model allows for our office to serve as the connection point for older adults and their caregivers to find the services they need while utilizing the Senior Services Levy to provide the funding for those services. This model is a tremendous benefit to those that are aging in Franklin County, as well as an incredible resource for many small and emerging businesses focused on helping individuals age in place. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about the 2018 accomplishments. As I said before, 2018 proved to be the biggest year of transition that Franklin County Office on Aging has ever experienced. Even during this year of change, the staff energy has been focused on maintaining what we do and doing it well. We are proud of the staff at the Office on Aging for their continued commitment to our clients and the assurance that their needs are met to the best of our ability. We experienced many successes in 2018 as it relates to the strategic business plan and our 6 programs at the Office on Aging. I'd like to share a little bit about each program. The purpose of the home and community-based program is to provide need-based services to Franklin County older adults and their caregivers so they can preserve their independence and experience an improved quality of life. This program supports the Board of Commissioners' core principle of providing supportive health and human services by offering a one-stop shop designed to provide information, referrals, and easy access to enrollment for needed home and community-based services. Our leadership team sees this program as a true safety net set of services for individuals who may not have the resources to receive supports or services from alternative state or federal aging programs. While the Senior Options Program connects older adults to a multitude of services to help them age in place, our most significant services include home-delivered meals and transportation. In 2018, thus far, we have provided 577,284 meals, home-delivered meals, and 1,679,252 miles of transportation for those over the age of 60 in Franklin County. In 2018, the Office on Aging was successful in collaborating with Franklin County Job and Family Services and the Veteran Service Commission to create a consolidated transportation contract. In addition to home-delivered meals and transportation, the Senior Options Program also provides connection to and funding for emergency response systems, adult day health, personal care assistance, homemaking, respite, and health maintenance supplies and equipment. The provision of these contracted services is supported by our robust quality improvement efforts. To date, we have 108 agencies on contract to support the needs of the Senior Options clients. The Franklin County Office on Aging Quality Improvement staff spends hundreds of hours each year conducting structural reviews, compliance reviews, training, and technical support visits with businesses providing services on behalf of Senior Options. Out of 108 businesses, 75 of those businesses are small and emerging. 58 are minority owned, and 41 have a woman as the owner. The magnitude of economic support and development that occurs for these contracted agencies allows for their continued growth and also ensures that our clients receive the very best care possible. This is a real example of how Franklin County is supporting the economic inclusivity of businesses. Under the program Community Support, Outreach, and Specialized Services, the Office on Aging is able to provide specialized services to older adults so they can optimize their ability to live and function within the community. The Community Support, Outreach, and Specialized Services program supports the Board of Commissioners' core principle of providing supportive health and human services by funding community-based nonprofits and governmental agencies that deliver specialized services to older adults and their families. In 2018, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners showed their support of an age-friendly community by making an investment into the effort for the entire Franklin County to become age-friendly Franklin County. This investment has allowed for many communities to become educated on the age-friendly initiative. In October 2018, a Franklin County convening was hosted where over 15 Franklin County communities attended to begin the process of obtaining their respective age-friendly designation. This event was a success, and Franklin County is well on its way to becoming one of the few age-friendly counties within the country. During the 2018 year, the Office on Aging embarked on a new initiative to host strategic conversations with the community regarding specific challenges that are facing older adult population. In order to achieve true collective impact for the aging population, it is imperative that conversations to gain the insight and perspective of professionals and older adults who are impacted by both the opioid crisis and the senior housing crisis. 23 community conversations were hosted where 254 older adults' voices were heard regarding these challenges. Following these conversations, a strategy session was held with community partners and older adults to determine how we can best meet the needs identified. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, the Franklin County Office on Aging recognizes the importance of creating aging strategies with the community and not for the community. This new concept and way of operating has ignited a spark in many of the FCOA staff, who are very appreciative of the face-to-face interaction with the population they are called to serve. The older adults we have been interacting with are extremely engaged and excited to contribute their ideas. This process has been a true success for the Franklin County Office on Aging in 2018, and we're hopeful to continue the work in the future. Under the Customer Service Management Program, we provide individualized customer services to older adults and their caregivers so they can access a trained professional to meet their needs. The Customer Service Management Program promotes the Board of Commissioners' core principle of providing supportive health and human services by increasing awareness of older adult needs and creating easy access to information, referrals, and enrollment into the Senior Options Program. The Franklin County Office on Aging prides itself on having dedicated case management staff that is committed to serving the aging population in Franklin County. In 2018 to date, we have served 8,924 clients through the Senior Options Program. The satisfaction rate of those clients we serve has consistently been at 90% or greater. The staff supporting this program understands the importance of forming lasting relationships with clients, recognizing that this relationship often combats the social isolation that many older adults face today. Under the program Public Information, we provide information, education, and consultation services to older adults and their caregivers so they can gain knowledge and access to resources and services. The Public Information Program supports the Board of Commissioners' core principle of providing supportive health and human services by providing resources and information on available services and supports to older adults. The Franklin County Office on Aging Public Information Program was successful this year in reaching many older adults and their caregivers. The communications team attended 80 outreach events and hosted 2 large events geared primarily to our clients. The Day with the Clippers and the Senior Living Festival allowed the Franklin County Office on Aging to connect personally with over 3,500 older adults in Franklin County. Over 10,000 older adults and their caregivers were also reached through our social media efforts in 2018. The purpose of the Safe Housing Program is to provide minor home repair modifications and repairs, safety assessments and products, and assistance to eligible Franklin County residents so they can live in their homes free of barriers and unsafe conditions. The Safe Housing Program supports the Board of Commissioners' core principle of providing supportive health and human services by providing those minor home repairs and modifications. As older adults continue to age in place, especially in their own homes, it is imperative that they have the support to maintain the safety of their homes. Year to date, the Senior Options Home Repair Program has completed 1,147 minor home repairs, which is inclusive of 9 wheelchair ramps, installed 231 grab bars, exterminated 95 homes for pests, and repaired 43 furnaces. During 2018, the Office on Aging co-hosted a home repair forum for programs in Central Ohio to increase collaboration and understanding of the various home repair programs within our community. This event was a success and allows us to further support older adults when their home maintenance needs are out of the Senior Options scope. Under the program Protective Interventions, otherwise known as Adult Protective Services, this program provides advocacy to clients' rights, investigations, court intervention, and other assistance to abused, neglected, and exploited vulnerable older adults so that they can be protected from individuals or environments that endanger their physical or emotional well-being. The Protective Intervention Program supports the Board of Commissioners' core principle of providing community safety, security, and effective justice by promoting community awareness of issues impacting the safety of vulnerable older adults and by offering an intake point for reporting allegations of abuse, neglect, or exploitations of those older adults. 2018 proved to be a busy and important year for those serving in adult protective services. Year to date, Franklin County Adult Protective Services has received just over 1,900 allegations of abuse. Of those calls, 37% were related to allegations of exploitation of an older adult. This number is on trend with what is happening across the entire state of Ohio, and thus the law regarding who is mandated to report elder abuse changed on September 29, 2018. As a result of this change in law, many new professions are required to report elder abuse when it is suspected. Financial institutions, CPAs, bank employees, and financial advisors are among the new mandated reporters, and the Franklin County Adult Protective Services team sees this as a positive change. Adding these new mandated reporters will allow our office to intervene sooner, hopefully minimizing further financial devastation to older adults. As you all know, in 2016, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners invested in an operational review for the Franklin County Office on Aging. This operational review serves as a roadmap for the Franklin County Office on Aging over the next 4 years. In 2018, we were successful in addressing many of the organizational structure recommendations, as well as beginning leadership development training for the Franklin County Office on Aging staff. Additionally, the Franklin County Office on Aging has dedicated time to understand the current business function and processes, as well as identifying the system needs for our future state. The leadership team of Franklin County Office on Aging is committed to continuing to modernize the agency while maintaining that high level of service that those aging in Franklin County has always received. I'd like to share a little bit about our 2018 goals. Under the Senior Options Program, the Office on Aging is looking forward to 2019. We're excited about continuing to this modernization and transformation that we started in 2018. In 2019, we are focused on ensuring we continue to serve older adults while maximizing the efficiency of the levy, growing the number of older adults served to reflect the goal set in the Human Service Levy Review Book, which is 10,444 residents. During the next year, it is our goal to evaluate federal and state programs to ensure that the levy is consistently being used as the payer of last resort, recognizing that federal and state programs are changing and thus may begin to cover services we currently provide with levy dollars. The Franklin County Office on Aging will participate in its first performance center and will be focused on outcome-based performance metrics. In 2019, the Franklin County Office on Aging will begin the process of identifying a new case management system for the case managers that will allow for focused stratification of clients based on current research that is reflective of the Franklin County's aging population. It is the goal of the Franklin County Office on Aging to increase the community and county collaborations for these programs in 2019, understanding that there is an opportunity for continued support for older adults when working closely with other county agencies and community partners. Franklin County Office on Aging will expand existing and develop new collaborations with Veteran Service Commission, Franklin County Public Health, Franklin County Job and Family Services, other community funders, and the healthcare community at large. The Franklin County Office on Aging Public Information Program will be releasing an updated version of the Franklin County Office on Aging Information Handbook for older adults and their caregivers to connect to services in 2019. We will continue to participate at community events that we have historically supported, as well as expand our presence at new events within the community to educate individuals about the services of senior options. It is the goal of the Franklin County Office on Aging to continue the outreach work we began in 2018 and transition into new topics. Under the program of Adult Protective Services, we recognize that 2019 will be a year of increased educational support and awareness to the general Franklin County community. The law changes that took place in 2018 increases the number of individuals and professionals that are required to report abuse. The Franklin County Office on Aging Adult Protective Service team is actively developing a strategic educational plan to ensure that these new reporters understand what their role is and feel support from our office in making those reports. In addition to strategic training for the new reporters, it is Adult Protective Services' goal in 2019 to continue to build collaborative relationships and increase education with community partners such as fire departments, police departments, public health departments, city code enforcement, and the healthcare community. At the forefront of our minds in 2019 will also be the recommendations of the operational review. Recognizing this review is our roadmap for our future. 2019 will continue to have a focus on staff development and enhancements of the operation of the agency. Our goal will be to ensure efficiency without sacrificing any of the quality that has been provided to the older adults of Franklin County for the last 26 years. Our office is hopeful to work closely with age-friendly Franklin County to conduct a county needs assessment in 2019 to understand the needs of the population we are called to serve. In closing, on behalf of the great team at the Franklin County Office on Aging, it is an absolute pleasure to serve the aging residents of Franklin County. Our team does not take the duty to provide centralized access to diverse programs and individualized services for frail and vulnerable older adults and their caregivers lightly. We are a passionate group, and we are honored to be part of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners team.
Thank you, Director. Once again, very thorough presentation. I will just say, I do have one question, but I will just say, I'm sure my colleagues agree with me, and our senior and our aging population is a very important part of
Absolutely.
the equation, as the Administrator talked about, people-oriented spending, so thank you for being so focused on that. The only thing that really jumps out at me is I tend to gravitate towards numbers, and the only thing that stands out is me that wasn't explained in your briefing document, because I was able to follow along as you're going in your actual document. Um, the only thing I didn't hear was that the information, public information budget went up by 20%. And so what's going on there? And it's not a bad thing, I'm sure, but I'm just curious as to why is that, why is that an area that has the largest increase? And it's not much because it's a small budget in
Right.
general, but,
Yeah. Is it the,
and honestly, it's not that crucial. If you want to
Right,
get
but-
back to me, that's fine, because I'm sure my colleagues
Yeah,
may have some questions or thoughts.
absolutely.
So, and I'll be honest with you, I'm still processing the budget stuff, and the first time I heard your comments, so I could come back with more
Okay,
questions.
yeah,
So
please
you can
do.
get back to me on those.
I think we are all looking at this for the first time in a while, and though there's a lot here, there's a lot of things that I know I have not yet integrated and processed as well. One of the things that I think about, though, is as we're growing in population, our senior community is growing as well, and the growing diversity among our senior population is changing, and their needs are changing.
Absolutely.
And I know that you pay attention to that, and I'm glad to know that you've done more in outreach than has been done in the past several years. I'm really happy to see that, and I'd like to know from your perspective in the time you've been here, what big changes are you seeing or hearing about as you're doing those outreach
absolutely.
events?
You know, so part of where I started in looking at where we need to take things is that we have social research today that we didn't have 4 or 5 years ago. And that research is telling us a story that never existed in our society. And that's a story of populations that have, you know, had lifetime poverty that they have suffered from. And so they're dying younger, 20 years younger at times than their peers in other zip codes. So we've been very strategic about whose voices that we're trying to hear and those needs. And so we've spent a lot of time at settlement houses, a lot of time at the community centers, really hearing from those older adults about what is it that they're facing as far as challenges go. Most recently, we've been having conversations about the housing crisis and hearing from those older adults about their inability to maintain the homes that they've had for many years, their inability to pay for their rising rents, at times pay for their taxes, to pay for the home modifications that may not fall into our program,
Right.
to pay to cut their grass. You know, those simple things that we all take for granted in the upkeep of our own personal lives, they really struggle to find the financial means on a fixed income. And so while that narrative is not different for a lot of us to hear it directly from those older adults, and for folks who have struggled financially their whole life and that extra stress and trauma that they've experienced over their life course, I think is what we're hearing a lot of, and hoping to be able to really start to stratify how we serve those individuals differently in the future. So when we talk about the case management system, that's something that we all look at and say, so we know this now. How do we support folks sooner and more quickly that are struggling and have been struggling for potentially their entire life course?
I appreciate that. I also appreciate making those connections with the other nonprofits and other organizations that do that kind of maintenance work for homes, because I think that too is an unmet need
Absolutely.
that you've identified. And certainly if there are people from the business community, small business community, who can be of help, are there levy dollars, or are there flexible
Right.
sources of funds to help support those efforts? Because I know our contracting process for this agency in the past had been fairly stable, and we hadn't made a lot of big changes. I think big changes are
Coming, needed potentially,
now, and I wonder, do we have room for some more flexibility?
I think that, within the budget today, there is a little bit of room for some grant opportunities. But what I really see is an opportunity to collaboratively pull funders together. So what I've noticed in the last 9 months is that, there are many funders in the community that fund aging efforts. And I think that we could do a better service to the aging population if we collaboratively come together and say, this is what we're discovering and this is how we should pool our money together to truly fund something that is more sustainable. And then tell a story. So what we're hearing about, home modifications is not, it's not different than in any other part of our community and other places. So one of the things that older adults were telling us is that they're so frustrated they can't find a handyman. Well, handymans aren't as popular anymore, right? That's not the business that we all, it seems to be a profession that's dying off. So how do we entice and support handymans to support older adults? And what does that look like? And how do we do that as a collaborative community, recognizing that that's a need? Because there are great handymans, right? There are great people who can help older adults. And so how do we all come together and try and figure that out? But utilize the levy when we can, but also collaboratively utilize other funding sources as well.
And I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Most handymen are seniors themselves.
Yeah, right. How to utilize their peers. That's a great point.
So, Director, you spoke quite a bit about aging in place, the population that wants to age in place. So on that note, and talking about home repairs and the work, take this time, if you could, or take a few minutes if you can here to talk to the audience, to talk to folks that may be watching. We do know that people watch this program. Talk to the community that's watching about the programs and about the dollars that are available in this budget for home modifications, home repairs, so that folks out there know that they can access these dollars to get their houses brought up to speed for their ability to be able to age in their house, to be able to put in ramps, to be able to install doors that are wider for their wheelchairs, to be able to make their house more accessible for them to be able to age in place, to get in and out.
Right,
whatever
absolutely.
Whatever it is. I know there are dollars within this budget for that purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so anyone over the age of 60 can call our office with that need of a home modification. And we have inspectors that will go out and evaluate that need and then set them up with services, set them up with contractors who will come in and modify that if it fits in the realm of the program. The wheelchair ramps, those pest, I can't think of the word, pest exterminations, the furnace repairs. This is the time of year where we start to get those calls where I went to kick on my furnace and it didn't work. So if those things happen, you're over the age of 60, call 614-525-6200, and we will work to get you set up with those services. Older adults have the ability to capitalize in on those services, and that's what that levy is for. That's what we utilize it for, to help them age in place, to help them maintain safe housing. That's the important piece. And if, like I said in my presentation, if that is not something we can do with the levy, we are learning about other grants and resources within the community that we can easily make a warm handoff and help get that done.
614-525-6200.
6200. Yep.
But my final question is just, with all the contracting you do, as you heard about our economic inclusion strategies and effort, are you tracking
Yes.
what you're doing in terms of those contractors or some of the companies that you're using? Do we know the diversity, inclusion?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, so out of the 108 contracted entities for the Office on Aging, 75 of those are small and emerging businesses. And then, what did I think? It was 58 of those are minority-owned, and 41 are with a woman at the helm.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
The work you're doing with protective services
Absolutely.
is critically important, and as we've seen with the opioid crisis, there have been a lot of additional situations that have come up with older adults being taken advantage of by family members. I know you've done some work in the community on those issues and helping seniors understand that they can do something.
Absolutely.
Because that's something, that's a situation that we really want to watch and make sure our population that you're serving is being served in the best way possible. When you did the outreach on the opioid problem, did that come up at all, that
Oh,
issue?
absolutely, yeah. So what we're seeing through the opioid crisis, through just general exploitation of older adults as it relates to opioids and financial exploitation.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's a real challenge. It's, you know, it's a vulnerable population. It's a difficult thing. I think we see it all the time where, you know, if it's your older adult loved one, it's difficult for them to evict their family members if they've come in and encroached in their homes. It's difficult for them to say no. I mean, you're talking about human beings and relationships and trauma and things that have gone on for quite a while. Adding in this opioid crisis on top of that makes things even more difficult. I think what we do best and what we do really, really well is educating those older adults when we go out and do those investigations about what their human rights are, and supporting them, but recognizing that they have the right to decide how they want to live. We all have that choice. And so it's a delicate balance of respecting those rights but protecting those individuals the best that we possibly can. And a lot of that happens through just general education of what their rights are. And then working collaboratively with, you know, county partners to, you know, the Guardian Service Board is something we work very, very closely with. When we do need to call that in, we make sure that that call happens and they're right there with us. And so how do we, you know, just build that safety net for those older adults that find themselves in those positions is the most important thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing, too, I would say that the appendix you have for the Human Services Levy Review Committee, I really like that document where it shows what you were challenged, what came from the committee, where it is in the process. If that's kind of a maybe something we ought to think about for all agencies down the road. Yeah, it's very nicely done. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no further comments or questions for our director, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Stay warm out there.
Next up, Job and Family Services. We'll give you a couple minutes to transition on in. You too.